This is the Ford Focus ST, and it costs £17,495. That means it's 1,500 quid less than an Astra VXR and a whopping £2.5 cheaper than a Golf GTI. Trouble is, sometimes bargain means basement, so have Ford compromised to get a lower sticker price than their rivals? To find out, you've got to get under a car's skin. And after a bit of sweet talking, a few months ago, they granted us exclusive behind-the-scenes access to see the car undergoing its final testing. This is the Dunton Technical Centre in Essex. Around 3,000 of Ford's finest report here each day. But you've probably never heard of this place, which suits Ford just fine. Here they're developing the cars you'll drive years, maybe even decades from now, and they're paranoid about the opposition getting clues as to what's next. They were very specific about what we could film and what we couldn't. First stop was the Environmental Test Laboratory. They've got 4 of these chambers, and each can replicate extremes in temperature from minus 40 to plus 55 degrees centigrade. They make sure the car will defrost in the Arctic, as well as the air conditioning coping in Arizona. In the Powertrain Development Lab, engines run around the clock, their exhausts reaching temperatures of over 1,000 degrees centigrade. This 2.5-litre ST engine will strain at maximum revs for 4 weeks, covering the equivalent of 150,000 miles. All the time, boffins monitor 160 different aspects of its performance. But the car's final sign-off rests not with the infinite measurement of machines, but the gut feel of one man, Jost Capito. He worked on Porsches and BMW M cars, and the ST only went into production when he said yes. And there was amazing news when Ford took one of these STs to the Nürburgring, because it lapped 10 seconds quicker than the original Focus RS. Now, as we all know, that car was a barely disguised track tool, and what's more, it was £2,500 more. Now, most hot hatches have tweaked versions of standard 2-litre engines, but Ford have done something a little bit unconventional here, and they should be applauded. This has got one of my all-time favourite engines in. It's a 5-cylinder, 2.5-litre turbo. Kicks out about 220 horsepower, just above. It's good for 60 in 6.5 seconds, and will top 150 miles an hour. And the best bit about this engine is just listen to this. It's got the most glorious noise. Now, we've banged on about the price of these cars, and you might think that the entry level is going to be a bit Spartan, but it's not. We've got alloy wheels, climate control, sexy Recaro seats, body kit. It's pretty much loaded up. So, you want a few more toys? Well, there's 2 other specifications. You've got the ST2, which I have here, which has better sound, heated screen, xenon headlamps, and ESP, and that's going to cost you £1,000 extra. Or you could go berserk and spend £19.5 for the ST3. There you're going to get even better sound, electric seats, and an interior that's been covered in cow. Whatever model you choose, you're still under £20,000, so perhaps Ford have trimmed on quality. Well, all the materials seem top-notch, and it's well screwed together. Now, for me, what makes a great hot hatch is a car that you can toodle down to the shops, jump onto the motorway, cruise around effortlessly, in comfort, relaxed, and in style. But if you want to tilt your head down, slick your hair back, and give it some pasty, it should be fun to drive. And this one certainly is. So the car's passed every test so far, but this is where you separate the men from the boys. The track. Now, one of the best bits about this car is the engine. It sounds great, it's got plenty of power, but importantly, it's got lots of torque, so unlike the Civic Type R where you've got to rev it to bits, not the case with this. You can be fast and a bit more relaxed. So So here we go, quick corner, 100 mile an hour. Let's see what this is like. Bit of understeer, not too bad though. Let's see what she's like on the brakes. Whoops, hello on the brakes. It's a little bit woolly. Just feels a little bit dead in my hands. It's still great fun to drive. But it's not a circuit racer. In fairness, Ford set out to make a car that can be used by the family every day, and one that might be thrashed around a track just once in a while. Until yesterday, the Golf GTI was fifth gear's favourite hot hatch, and it still is. But this new Focus is cracking value, and it comes in a very close second. Join us after the break when we'll be back in the office discussing it and giving one away.
Before the break, we saw Jason test the new Ford Focus ST, and Jace, there was an awful lot to recommend about it, wasn't there?
Tons to recommend. I mean, it's, you know, if you compare it to the Golf GTI, it's got more power, it's got more torque. It's £2,500 cheaper, and it's very nearly as good.
But it's also orange, and you have to pay 500 quid for that extra limited edition
colour.
Like that, do you? It's not limited enough, if you ask me.
Yeah, but I've just got one on loan as well. It's an orange one again. I think all the press fleet cars are orange at the moment, and it's such an impressive car. I love it as well because the quality when you get in. It's more Golf-like. That seat is fantastic. It holds you, lovely driving position. And then once you start the engine up and start purring down the road, accelerate, low revs, it's got this grunty engine noise that puts a smile on your face. That's the key to a good car. It puts a smile on your face every time you accelerate away from the house.
It's a great engine, isn't it? It comes out of the Volvo. Obviously Ford owned Volvo. It's the 2.5 litre turbo, straight 5. It is a cracking motor, I have to say.
It does sound very lovely.
But with so much power, there's always that danger of torque steer. If it was front-wheel drive cars, we thought you couldn't have more than 200 bhp. Now it's 220. Of course, torque steer, that horrible feeling that when you accelerate, it pulls the front of the car across.
Still there a little bit.
It is, just a little bit. Yeah. And yet, you know, to have 220 horsepower and virtually cover up it all, it's amazing.
Now, from seeing you on the track and from what you've said, I reckon, though, that the Civic Type R will still be the better track car because it's sort of more agile and it revs so well.
It would be, but then again, that's not what Ford have set out to do. I mean, you know, they want to make a great road car. And I have to say they have. It's going to sell. And you lucky people, we've decided to give away a brand new top-of-the-range ST3 as this week's competition prize. It's worth nearly 20 grand, and to be with a chance of winning, all you've got to do is answer this simple question. What's a common way of referring to a sporty car with a tailgate? Is it A, hot hatch, B, hot 3-door, C, hotback? Call 090 15 33 9955 to enter, or text GEAR plus A, B or C to 81555. Lines will close at midday on Monday the 5th of December, and we'll remind you of the numbers later in the show. You can also enter the competition via our website at 5.tv/5th gear, where you'll also find details of our download feature.
Right, every now and again there's talk about holding a London Grand Prix, a Formula One race to rival the evocative Monaco street circuit. There hasn't been a Grand Prix in London since an event at Crystal Palace in 1938. But last year we thought we're getting a bit closer to something actually happening. As a publicity stunt prior to the